This week on the Creating Victory podcast, host Amy J sits down with Lauren O Brien, a true artist for peace. Lauren is a multi-award-winning, internationally acclaimed actor, musician, band leader, playwright, author, and creator of the off-Broadway show Lolo's Boyfriend Show. Amy J and Lauren dive deep into surviving and thriving as an artist, overcoming the obstacles and the power of music and theater to open people's hearts and build relationships of respect and love. Lauren shares tips to stay motivated and focused in a slump, and how she's single-handedly created and produced her own work and literally toured the world.
Hello, my friends out there. Amy J here, and we are back for this week's episode of Creating Victory podcast. Thank you for listening, sharing, downloading, inspiring the world to create victory in any moment. And I am so excited. I'm always excited to have my dear friend and amazing artist for peace and gloriously talented human, Lauren O Brien. She is an actor, a writer, a musician, a producer, a mogul, and she is truly the exemplifying, making it happen, creating value in the world. Lauren, I love you forever. She's my rock star. Thank you for being here.
I love you. Thank you so much for having me, Amy, my movie star. And thank you for that introduction. I'm just like, ooh.
She's a mogul. So share with our people a little bit. I know you were initially an actor. I mean, you're still an actor. This is one of the things I love about you is you're able to morph it all. Just share a little bit about your artistic journey and your goal as an artist for peace. That's a long question, but...
Ooh, I like it. I've had a really winding journey. And the more I talk to other artists, I think that is not uncommon for artists, but I always wanted to be an actress. I studied acting at Syracuse University. PA Syracuse. And I did some work at Syracuse Stage as an actress. I did tours as an actress. And then I got involved. I was a founding member of Polina Klimovitskaya's avant-garde theater company. And that woman, she's from the Moscow Art Theater. She's a really divine artist. She taught me so much about creativity. She has this really unique, kinetic, psychophysical approach to creating and performing. And I have used that work in everything I've done going forward. So I learned so much from Polina. And I was auditioning a lot. I, did more regional theater and tours. I did a little bit of work in film, and I was trying to break through more. But I really hated auditioning. I felt so much like a piece of meat. Everyone's looking at your body as an actress. Yeah. And I felt so self-conscious and flirted with eating disorders because it's so much about what you
the horrible environment. Yeah.
And at the time, I was becoming friends with a lot of musicians and, people with bands and DJs. And I admired them so much because I felt like it was so empowering. They could write their own songs, book their own shows, connect with their own fans, put together their own tours. It was so empowering to me. And, it didn't occur to me yet that, I could write a play. I have this background. I made friends with a producer. And at the time, I was also doing poetry open mic. So he had me start writing lyrics for bands he was working on. Then I recorded some demos with them, and I was in a band with him. And I just thought it was I was floating on air because I went from having very little musical experience to being in a band and writing all the lyrics. And with some really, one of the people in the band, Fringe had won an Emmy Award for TV shows, and Janice Robinson had hit songs on the radio, and she toured with Tina Turner, and Mark Godwin's extremely successful. So from nothing, I was with these people, and I fell in love. And Fred Shahadi let me borrow his Parker Knight Fly Mojo guitar, guitar on it, which was so cool. And
so you taught yourself guitar.
I took guitar lessons. Some, I taught myself some, and then I had also great teachers. Matt Fisher is one of my teachers. Gary Picard taught me. Fred taught me. So I had a bunch of people helping me. And I remember I had wanted to learn guitar as a kid. And I think at like 12 years old, I really wanted a guitar. One of my family members said, oh, it's too late at 12. You know, to really become a musician, you have to start like that when you're 5. So
programming we get.
And later we find it's so good for us, for our brains, for our longevity, for our vitality to learn new things at any age. So I learned in my 20s. I practiced Buddhism, and that's how Amy and I became friends. Like chanting together. And the whole guitar journey started because I went to a Buddhist conference, and a woman shared her experience of later in life. I think she was in her late 40s, early 50s. She had kids who were now grown and out of the house, and she had a great marriage, but she was falling into this depression. And she chanted to fulfill her greatest mission and her greatest dreams. And she discovered this talent she had as a visual artist. So I was like, you know what? I really want to learn guitar. And so I did, singer-songwriter style. I'm realistic about my skill level, but I learned well enough to write songs and co-write and play and perform. And so the first band fell apart. And then because I was writing poetry, I put together a band that was kind of like Patti Smith meets the Smashing Pumpkins.
Yes, it was amazing.
So much fun to do that. And then it was hard working with 6 people in a band. So then I had a duo with Matt Fisher and also with Mitch DiStefano. I co-wrote a punk cabaret show, toured that along with
that show
around Germany. And it was like, that was so empowering to me.
Here, talk about Germany, because I remember that when it fell in your lap and you were working a regular full-time job. I want our audience to understand that we as artists are juggling 100 things. So you're doing all this and you're working a full-time job in a law firm. Then you get invited to go. I remember that. That was how was the Germany trip, and what did that experience bring for you?
It was one of the best experiences of my life, because it's true. I was working full time and then also performing. I had these really long days where I'd get up super early, do Buddhist chanting. I'd practice in the morning, I'd rehearse in the morning, work the full-time job, go to the gym, take a shower, rehearse, sometimes see a show. Eventually I'd crash, but it was also like so exciting and vibrant. And I also loved the people that I worked with at the day job. Like, I met amazing people doing that. So I had to fight to get a month off of work to go this tour in Germany. And Lisa Bianco, the incredible guitar player, came with me. And Songs and Whispers produced this tour. And they have a great... Songs and Whispers is this production and touring company that searches for up-and-coming artists. And they have these contests for up-and-coming artists. And they have a tour route that they'll bring the artists on. And there's some big cities. We played in Berlin, we played in Hamburg. Wow. And we also did a lot of small towns, more rural towns. I'll never forget Greiz, which is this rural town, and a lot of industry is there. And we played in an old warehouse and stayed in this old warehouse. For people there were absolutely magnificent. It was this huge, and because it was a punk cabaret show, they turned the whole old warehouse into a cabaret.
Oh
they
my
had these
God.
little tables, and they promoted it. Everyone came out from like all the surrounding towns.
Wow.
We stayed there. I think it was my birthday. They made a birthday cake. They set up a room for us in this factory, put chocolates on our pillows. I was wearing like a dress made out of chains, and one of the chains broke. And someone there had a welding shop in this factory, and he was like, "Oh, don't worry, I'll fix it." I wish we had gotten video of me in this chain, dress made of chains, getting it fixed by a welder in Greiz.
This town in Germany, yeah.
It was insane. So we played some bigger theaters, and then we played small towns. We actually performed at a church, and the pastor hosted us.
Wow.
And he was awesome. We had this wild, crazy show, and he let us play at the church, and we had these free covers. The pastor there loves whiskey, and he loves music, and he loves God. And so we did a whiskey tasting at his house. He had huge shelves of vinyl and CDs.
Wow.
So we had these incredible conversations with him about whiskey, which I knew nothing about, but he told us all the history of whiskey, it was fascinating. And then all these musicians he had met and hosted. And then we talked about God. And we were these wild girls who weren't necessarily ascribing to what he was preaching, but we had these incredible conversations. He was so open, so warm, so lovely. And we had so many experiences like that. And just falling in love with so many people that we met.
I mean, this really, we see so much, and I'm always encouraging people to go out without their phones, but this is the power of music and the power of art. And we go to these other places and it truly unites us. It can be I always wonder if we stopped putting trillions of dollars into war and started putting trillions of dollars into more. This is exactly how we make peace. You're on complete opposite spectrums, spiritually, lifestyle-wise, and yet you're able to find harmony through the art. So you're such an artist for peace.
Yeah, that's so amazing. Thank you for reminding me about the goal. Because when I connect with that, I feel so much energy. When I get too much into my ego or what's not happening, I get really depressed.
Yeah, it can get that opens up a whole other subject that we have to be artistpreneurs now. We have to be social media marketers. We were just talking about this before we came live, producers, agents, bookers. You're literally doing 10 jobs and self-funded. And where does the money come from? And how do we keep going and not comparing and despairing? And what keeps you grounded and managing all of that in this bizarre day and age that we're in?
Great question.
I think I know the answer, but I'm curious what you say.
Definitely the chanting that we do is everything. I've been practicing for a really long time.
Nature and SGI Buddhism, yeah?
Yeah. Nam-myoho Renge-kyo, which I had originally heard about when I watched the Tina Turner movie. Love got to do with it. And it is so powerful. A stranger told me about it when I first moved to Queens. And she said, try an experiment where you chant Nam-myoho Renge-kyo, which means devotion to the mystic law of cause and effect. And she encouraged me to try chanting a few minutes in the morning, a few minutes at night towards a goal. I wanted an acting job. 2 weeks later, I had a national tour. So I knew there was something to it. It's not always that straightforward.
Yeah.
Because we also talk about going through, the ultimate goal is world peace. And as we chant towards these goals, we get to see our inner negativity, what's between us and that, and also what's between us and our higher selves, our Buddha nature. And we use the phrase human revolution very often, like transforming internally to decrease the negative internally and increase the positive. And the whole idea is the microcosm affects the macrocosm. And as I'm able to do that, decrease the negative, increase the positive, it ripples out and affects the whole. So much, I've been chanting towards these artistic projects, but I've been doing my human revolution through it.
Yes, you have. It's been amazing to watch you from the outside. You inspire me. And, you've also come through a lot of serious health challenges and the whole pandemic. And that brought you to Lolo. Tell us about Lolo. Lolo is going to change the world. She's going to be president. Lolo in Edinborough. Lolo's going to be in school. I'm mesmerized by Lolo.
Yeah, I needed to thank you for the encouragement because it is a challenging journey.
Getting Lolo out there. Of course it is, because she's going to, impact people's hearts.
Yeah,
She's everything. We talk in Buddhism about the 10 worlds from hell to Buddhahood and everything in between. And none of it's all mutually inclusive. And Lolo's funny and she's vulnerable and she's badass and she's bitchy and she's sweet and she's fashion and she's music and she's fearful and she, has sex with boys and she breaks up with them and she, goes out and Lolo is everything, and she's this gorgeous amalgamation of life itself and what we can be, and all in one. It's really quite something.
That means so much coming from you, Amy, who you've created so much, accomplished so much. And in our practice, we practice the Lotus Sutra, which is all about the lotus flower coming out of the muddy swamp. And the show I'm developing now and taking on tour is Lolo's boyfriend show, which I wrote during the pandemic, but the predecessor was Jackson Lolo. That was the first time Lolo made an appearance. And that show, we had a mutual friend, Jackie Sheeler, who was one of my best friends in the world, who unfortunately horrifically took her own life after really struggling with depression. And she had overcome so many obstacles to create a victorious life. She, overcame living in an abusive household and homelessness to being the head of IT support at Yahoo.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, all of us struggled so much after we lost Jackie. And I was devastated and went through this real dark night of the soul. And
you found her.
I did.
Yeah.
And just this, how it affected all of us, and then what state she must have been in to do something like that, and everything that contributed to it. So I went on this dark night of the soul journey, and also chanted so much with you and our other Buddhist friends. Almost every day we were chanting in the time after she passed. And I really chanted, turn poison into medicine. And I felt and still feel this connection with her heart and her spirit, because she was a mentor to me, and she was older than me, and she was this artistic mentor, sister, mother, boyfriend, sometimes big stuff in my apartment. She protected me. She was just a badass.
She was badass. So you don't mess with Jackie. Yeah. Hardcore.
New York. Everyone's scared. Thick Brooklyn accent, tattoos, artist. But so, people said they were scared of her, but she had such a soft heart. I'd go to her house, we'd paint, we'd make collages. So I really, as I chanted, I felt her spirit. I felt her spirit connecting with me. And I started writing about her, not really sure what I was going to do with it. And I ended up creating a solo show where I played her and I played myself in all of the parts.
It was amazing.
Thank you. And I really wanted to create something to create value out of her death and to help her. She always wanted to write a show out of her life, and she never did. So I wanted to help her finish her mission, even though she wasn't here anymore. And I wanted to create a show that would encourage other people to live and not make that choice, even though I think probably every human being thinks about that choice at some point. It's really hard to be a human, to be in this world, to keep going. But in those dark moments to choose life, I wanted that show to help people to choose life, and also to take the harsh judgment that we have of people who do choose to take their lives. I wanted to cultivate compassion, because, we never know what someone's gone through. And I was so happy after I did that show, someone came up to me and said that they never want to be the reason that someone else calls 911.
Wow.
So that meant so much to me. And other people said that I managed to create a joyful show that addresses suicide. So I was so happy about that. And the show was extended. We got some funding. And then the pandemic shut it down. And I always wanted to write a show about my colorful dating life. Lolo's become her own person, but it started with some personal stories of my friends, things I dreamed and imagined. And I kind of took certain aspects of my personality and things I've seen in the dating world and just magnified them to create this character that I kind of love like a daughter. But
I
took the craziest parts of myself and just blew them up. So I'm saying other people might have a different opinion about how much it's fictionalized, but she just really places her value outside of herself. And it leads to chaos and hijinks and horror. And it's this journey of her finding herself.
Yeah.
It's fun and hilarious and terrifying and scary and heartbreaking. And I hope that we created her just as human as possible, so that people can heal through her bad life choices.
She is. And the capacity you have as an actor, you wrote the whole thing, you produced the whole thing. I know you had help, and then to carry that for 2 hours and the way it moves and you stay with her and the costumes and the different men and what that brought out and the set choices and the chanting and I still remember, her curling up in the chair because I did that recently because something wasn't working out and I was just so trying to fit a square peg in a round hole and it couldn't,
Yeah.
So it's so relatable and so necessary. And I know you did an off-Broadway run and some years ago now and have been able to take it. You won Fringe, you won, share the journey to Edinborough and kind of what you're looking at moving. Lolo needs to be everywhere. She's
Yay.
like an icon, she's she needs her own Barbie.
I think so. That would be so much fun. Because
her fuzzy, big fuzzy coat and, big glasses.
She does have, probably it's a little over 90 minutes. Maybe it's 90 or 100 minutes, the full show. And then we have an hour version of the show. But in the full show, she does 18 costume changes right on stage.
It's amazing. The characters.
And I keep talking to the audience, and by the end, the stage is littered with clothes. So I started it, again, just writing stream of consciousness during the pandemic and writing these different dating stories. And then I took it with the help of Matt Hoverman, who helped me develop it, created this solo show, and I play in the full version 18 characters. There's 18 costume changes. There's projections that the amazing Leanne Arnold created. Really simple set. So, and I do music, play guitar. It's so much fun. So we laid the groundwork for this. We built the piece. And then when I do it, it's kind of like I just get on the tracks and just go.
Yeah.
It just kind of moves through me, and it's so much fun. So we did it first at the New York City Fringe Festival in 2024, and when we won the Audience Choice Award. Yay!
Of course she did.
I was so proud of that. It's a solo show, and so much depends on word of mouth. And it was, me and the director basically promoting it. And there were some shows that just had, casts of 25, 30, these huge shows. And we won the Audience Choice Award. I was so happy.
It's so profound. This is the power of touching people's hearts when you have a goal to impact people's lives.
That's what I won. One of my goals for the show is that when people see it, we were just talking about this Buddhist concept of casting off the transient and revealing the true. So I wanted people, when they see the show, if they're in a relationship that doesn't bring out their greater self or bring out the best of them, to, after they see the show, say, you know what, I'm going to let that go. To start making choices to really reveal their higher selves, to really let go of transient. We won the New York City Fringe, then we were invited to do an off-Broadway run. It was a short off-Broadway run at Playhouse 46, which went really well. And then we brought the show to Edinburgh last year, it's a pretty prestigious festival, and there is something like 4,000 shows. I don't know how it's physically possible, but they're going all day. Every single space in the city turns into a venue. Wow. It's really magical, creative. I thought it would be overwhelming when I heard about it, but this synchronicity kind of takes over, and you find yourself in the right place at the right time, meeting with people that are meant for you. But the show, Jennifer Amy is this lovely producer who helped me take the show to Edinborough. And then she brought these two amazing young women who helped promote the show to other young women, especially to college students. And we were able to sell out the show, which is such a huge accomplishment.
Yes,
So we had sold out shows. A lot of young people came, and we won the Intercultural Connections Audience Choice Award. So I was over the moon about that. And we were also shortlisted for Best Production out of those thousands of shows. And some of them have multi-million-dollar budgets. Some of them are have Broadway producers who are test running these shows in Edinburgh. So the fact that we were shortlisted, there were only 13 shows on this ICI shortlist. We got 2 5-star reviews. So I'm absolutely over the moon about that. And then everyone wanted to talk after, especially the young women. Like, everyone wants to talk about the shows, talk about how they resonate with Lolo's experiences. Even we did the show at APAP. We did a showcase at the beginning of the year.
What's APAP?
It's the Association of Performing Arts Professionals. So a lot of performers and shows.
You showcase there, right? To get picked up for other things, yeah.
Yes. But the best part was after the shows, there was this one showcase that we did after, went in the green room, and all these young women wanted to talk. And it was such a diverse group of young women. You know, there was different sexual orientations. There was a non-binary young person who was participating in conversation, all different racial, ethnic backgrounds, sexual orientations, and ages. And I was moved to tears that such a diverse group of people wanted to talk, related to Lolo with the situations that she found herself in. The majority of the show, I think, is comedy, but then it touches on some really dark issues.
It's so profound, though. Like, but this is your genius to sort of make it funny, but yet still profound. And again, like with the priests in Germany, the power of the art to bring all these diverse, at the end of the day, we're all human beings. We're all global citizens. We all want a happy and productive life. And this is, Lolo brings them. I mean, I related to it, the attachment to the one that's just never going to be there or is married or, I should write my own Lolo version. But yeah, so where's Lolo going next? We want to see her everywhere.
Well, I actually am working on some writing projects at the moment. So I'm taking a little pause and performing. And in September, we're doing it at one of my favorite places in the world, Savage Wonder in Beacon, New York.
Yay, I'm coming.
Yay! This place is phenomenal. Like, I encourage everyone to visit Beacon and check out all the local businesses, but especially to go to Savage Wonder. It was created by a military veteran who comes from a family of performers. Really, the priority is to give veterans and their immediate family members a space to bring their work and develop it. So right now there's a small theater, there's a wine bar, and an art gallery, and they're building an 125-seat theater and a 60-seat theater. So it's going to be huge. But they provide space for, all kinds of artists, really prioritizing military veterans. But it's just such a beautiful venue. So I'm excited to do that. And then right at the moment, then we're going to have to wait almost a year for Lolo to be in New York City. We're going to be performing at the Wild Project in March 2027. So I'm excited about that. We're also in the middle of booking a tour. So stay tuned.
Well, this is important, I think. And, we get, especially now in this social media culture, like, oh, it's supposed to it just seems like it happens. I mean, I know for Victory Dance Project, we're looking into 27, 28, like,
yes,
have to be really constantly moving. And it's not a snap your fingers and suddenly you're a YouTube star kind of reality, even though we might think it is. So I love that, maybe you can share, especially for new entrepreneurs or people getting going, like the tenacity and persistence you have to have Like making causes every single day and then trusting. We were just talking about this before, like, and all we learn, and we were just saying, like, I paid this person and this didn't happen, but all of that contributes to, no cause is ever wasted, right? So what would you share with a young artist that wants to try and get their work out? The benefit of New York is that there's so much ability to do it, and it's also so incredibly difficult and expensive. So it's this bizarre paradigm.
It's so challenging. I mean, it's a lesson I'm constantly learning, that tenacity and persistence and patience and being hyper-focused and determined and open to other opportunities and options at the same time. After we did really well in Edinborough, and I was so happy about that. And I had this fantasy that then the savior would swoop in and say, oh, darling, how magnificent.
Go to Broadway.
Yeah, here's $10 million, and the doors are flung open for you. Well, we did really well in Edinburgh. I was so excited also for some other writing projects that I'm doing, and excited to just move forward with everything and start booking a tour. And then immediately my boyfriend and I broke up. My precious cat passed away. And
it was Jackie's cat, right?
Yeah, Jackie's cat. I had adopted both of her cats, and one of them passed away really suddenly, which was just devastating for me. I mean, you know how it is having animals. They're just they're in front of you. And then I have some health problems that started after an accident I was in several years ago that I struggle with almost on a daily basis, pretty much a daily basis, but they were really flaring up because of the stress. So I had to take a step back and take a pause and be in the space of not knowing what the next thing is. And now Jennifer Amy, one of the producers, Jennifer Amy, and also Molly Pearson are working with me towards bringing Little Boyfriend Show to the Wild project. It's a year from now. We have to do fundraising. If there are any producers out there or, supporters of the arts who want to support Lolo, we would love to talk to you. We need you. And bringing the show to Savage. And then also expanding into television writing. So I have to keep that a little quiet, but we're working on that. I'm very excited about that. So advice like the Shantic helps me so much, taking steps forward and then allowing myself to be in the void sometimes.
It's uncomfortable.
It's so uncomfortable. And the pacing isn't what I would like. It's just like I'm an impatient.
You're like me. You want it like, come on. I'm doing all this. Where's the results? I'm that way.
And the whole thing of not having, we've had a lot of conversations with high-level producers and investors, and some of those might come through. It's slower than I thought it would. And then there is something empowering going back to being a producer on my own work and having final say on it. It's like that lesson that I had when I was auditioning so much and wanting to be an actress and admiring those musicians so much because they could create their own work, book their own shows, reach out to it's very empowering. It's kind of like surfing a big wave. It's empowering, it's badass, and then it can just knock you over.
Take you out, dump you under. Yeah, that's a great
beat you up and leave you for dead on shore.
Curl you onto the shore, what just happened?
And then you lay there for a while, for a few weeks or a month, and then you're like, let's do this again. Have a sandwich. Have a drink, and then you're like, let's
get
go.
Yeah. Well, that's actually an important point and I struggle with this of taking some time to reset, breathing, going outside, changing your environment, rather than push, kind of letting things gel on their own. I'm not good at that either. And
something I grapple with and struggle with, we talk a lot in our practice about how we move our lives in the directions we want them to go. We're in the driver's seat. And also, I feel there's also something else. There's some other force, there's some other spirit, there's some plan, that maybe our conscious mind isn't aware of. And one of my friends, John Plummer, who's an incredible writer and director, encouraged me to chant like I was looking out over the whole universe, not always making something happen or imposing my will, but just with this open heart, open mind, open spirit. I was crying to him about something that I wanted because I think we got a 3.5-star review, which really got my goat.
I get so mad.
And she was like, chant, like, and the reason, not just because I want it, because I want to use that to parlay, into other bookings. And he was like, just chant like you're looking out over the universe. And I did. And as soon as I finished, I got a message from Jennifer saying we got a 5-star review. So interesting.
Namyo Renge Kyo. You can't beat it. Yeah. Where can we find you? Where can we find Lolo? How can we support you? Where can we follow you?
Yeah, thank you for asking. My website is lolosboyfriendshow.com. My Instagram is Lolo's Boyfriend Show. My TikTok is Lolo's Boyfriend Show.
Lolo shares a lot of wisdom on social media, so you should definitely follow her. Lolo shares the real shit.
There's also a donate button on the website. It's a tax-deductible donation. We're under the umbrella of Fractured Atlas, which is a not-for-profit. So we would really appreciate your support. It's so challenging to create art in this economy now. So we need you. So we hope you could be a part of our team.
Lauren, thank you. You inspire me.
You inspire me. Thank you so much.
Change the world.
Yes.
Yeah, to all our friends out there watching and listening, thank you. Please continue to listen, download, share, invite your friends, because we're all about creating victory and making this shit happen. So thank you, and we'll see you guys next week. Thank you, Lauren.
Thank you for having me, Amy.